Good morning, Chevra. Good morning, Larry, Nati, and everyone here. Today's the 5th day of Kislev, and we're in the middle of essay 4 in Kunteris Acharim. Tuesday morning, beautiful Tuesday morning. We're on page 81 in the Chayinu booklets. In today's lesson, the physical items used to perform a mitzvah, the tefillin that we just took off, the talis, are united with the infinite light of Hashem, thus uniting the person performing the mitzvah with the infinite light of God. Imagine that tefillin that you're holding, that you're wearing, connects you with the Oid Ein Sof, the infinite light of Hashem. However, when we do a physical mitzvah, these are the works of Hashem, unlike other worldly actions, from which godliness is completely concealed. The Alter Rebbe now explains this phenomenon. So in the process of the chain-like descent through Atzilus, from Atzilus to Bria, Yitzir, and Asiya, through these four worlds, spiritual levels, the vessels of Atzilus that descend into these worlds are godliness of these worlds from the very nature and essence of their external aspect. Let's take, for example, the esrog and its kinds. Hilbish behem HaKadosh Baruch Hu memahusim v'atzmuson chasodim pnimiyim dezer anpin. Hashem enclosed something of the very nature and essence of the internal attributes of chesed, kindness of zah. By the way, take a specific day, for example. It's a very interesting thing. The day of Pesach, the day of the Seder. It's not that we went out of Mitzrayim and that day became special. That day was destined to become a day of Geula. In fact, well before the Jewish people ever went out of Mitzrayim, Avraham Avinu was celebrating Pesach. Other of our forefathers were celebrating that day. Why? Because the day itself was holy. So the esrog itself is holy. These things become holy through the Seder Shtalshalus, the whole order that goes through all the different worlds and comes into them. Hashem clothes something in the very nature and essence of this thing, of this esrog. From their outward state, from the external aspect of these internal attributes, from the chesed that we talked about, as is known in the case of all mitzvahs requiring action. Can I ask you if somebody can please close the second door there? Just pull that door closed, it'll just be a little easier. Thank you. By contrast, a man who by means of his intellect and spiritual emotions can attain intellectually generated love and fear, even if he has a very high neshama. We talked about this yesterday. Once he comes into a body, so imagine that the fruit, the esrog, experiences godliness. Godliness is infused within the physical object, like the tefillin. But with a person, no, we can't see him, we can't sense godliness, even if you have a very holy, special neshama. We cannot detect or comprehend godliness is hidden to us. This is in parentheses. In general terms, Atzilus, the highest level, represents the state of Chaya, life in the four worlds of Atzilus, Bria, and Yitzira. It's the highest world. Specifically, each of the four worlds possess all of the four soul levels of Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, and Chaya. In a general sense, however, each of these four worlds correspond to one of these levels. Asiya generally corresponds to Nefesh, Yitzira to Ruach, Bria to Neshama, and Atzilus, the highest, corresponding to Chaya. Really, there's one more higher. The Etzem Hashem, which is Yechida, oneness with Hashem, but we don't even We can't relate to that. So we'll just leave it at that. So Chaya denotes encompassing transcendence and not being vested within any keli whatsoever. With regard to the internal attributes of kindness, of Zah, man is able to apprehend only their existence through intellectually generated love. You think of Hashem when you daven, you think of the greatness of Hashem, and you get excited because Kadosh Baruch Hu cares about me, and He created the entire world, and He gave me such opportunity, and gave a beautiful family and a warm place to daven, and I can connect with Him and thank Him, and but that's through a thought process. Okay, we have an automatic love, which is a part of our DNA, comes all the way from Avraham Avinu. All right, so that's a lower level. We still have that. But what about when it comes to Moshe Rabbeinu being able to see Hashem? He only saw the back of Hashem, so to speak, and seeing penetrates to the essence of the matter. It refers only to the nevuah, the prophecy that Moshe Rabbeinu had. So it was a very spiritual sight in nature. Shehu is pashtus hagashmius k'mashikos, but I'm parshas mishpatim. Prophecy entails divestment of everything physical. In fact, the prophets had to remove everything physical from themselves. What does that mean? They were completely natural when it came to communicating with Hashem in the prophetic way. Hashem communicating with them. So Moshe's apprehension of the essence of divinity, of godliness, resulted from a state of prophecy that entails divestment from the physical. Through other non-prophetic means, it's impossible for the soul to apprehend the essence of any of the levels of Atzilus. The reason why a created being is incapable of grasping anything whatsoever of the essence of Hashem, without comprehension, there's no real investment or grasping or cleaving. So no created being can actually grasp anything godly. The only way we can do it is through the mind. So you're doing it, it's a spiritual way to connect to Hashem. We can do it through the mind. We can't do it through something physical. We're going to get to in a second. How do we do it through something physical? By holding the mitzvah. You're holding it and you're holding the mitzvah. That's the way we connect to Hashem. We'll get to that in a second. So man is incapable of truly cleaving to God's attributes, meaning the attributes of Atzilus, the high level. In light of the above, it's clear that the love and the fear that a Yid generates through meditation during davening, that's how he grasps and cleaves, but only to the external part of Hashem, not to the essence. Masha'en kain. Here we go, but a mitzvah, the physical object of the mitzvah, that's a whole different thing. Masha'en kain ha'esrig al derech mashal. When you take the esrig, that's why people cherish their esrig, they hold it, it's so special, right? The life and vitality of this esrig is drawn down and descends from the essence of the outer aspects of the vessels of Nukva, of Zava, of Atzilus. Can't imagine, Atzilus is the highest level. Okay, he's actually articulating that it's from the outer level of Atzilus. It's from Atzilus. That's where the heart and soul of the esrog comes from. Which is godliness. Now we're we're finishing davening, so the talis and the tefillin. That's physical objects. Mamish gets their chayus, their energy directly from God. Eitz Chaim, and the Alter Rebbe is specifically bringing the esrog because it says in the Zayar and the Kabbalah that the fruits are rooted in Atzilus. Kilamed Kalim Datzilus Yardu Lebriya Yitzir Nasiya. For the 30 vessels of Atzilus descended into Briya Yitzir Nasiya in order to become godliness of those worlds. Who Yud My marais shebahen nivra ha'olam ha'idei slapshus benukva dasiya mahus b'mahus. And these are the 10 utterances by which the world was created, through enclothing themselves in nukva vasiya, the essence within essence. So the essence of the vessels of the kingdom of Malchus of Atzilus vests itself in the essence of Malchus of Asiya. It's a progression as it goes down from one level to the next. Larry, don't worry, soon you're going to have your chayinu in hand. It's going to be a whole different world. You're not going to believe it. So it's going to be amazing. So included among them, as this descent comes down from the highest level, Atzilus, right next to Hashem, the Oirin Seif, the essence of God, comes down all the way, and included among them are the fruits of the world, that's the esrog. So while the godliness found in other physical matter is concealed, in an object used for a mitzvah, it's manifest. You can feel it. The way we treat our tefillin, we sense we're never going to treat our tefillin with disrespect. We keep them housed carefully in a bag. Well, they don't go on the floor. We sense that they're holy. We sense that the Torah is holy. We have utmost respect for it. Okay. The vessels of Atzilus, and that's who that came from, became the soul of Asiya, which is actually a state of godliness, divinity. In Atzilus, Hashem and his vessels are one. And through the enclothement of the essence of the soul of the vessel of Atzilus and the essence of the vessels of Nukva, which means Malchus of Asiya, as it goes down from one level to the next. And then came along this Esrog. Nimsa, Shetoifes HaEsrog, Na'anoi, Kel Chasai. The result is when we hold the Esrog and we wave it and shake it according to halacha, the way we're supposed to. One is actually holding the life force which is enclosed in it, which derives from the nukva of Malchus Batzilus. We should learn this right before we shake the lulav nesig. It would be a whole different experience. Mamish holding godliness in your hand. It's unbelievable. I mean, the same holds true for the tefillin, but in a different way, but we'll see. There's a tefis mamish chayishim elavish benukva datzilus. Hamichedis b'oidin soif hamaitze baruchu. And the Malchus of Atzilus is united with Hashem, the eternal light, the emanator of Atzilus, blessed be He. Okay, that's talking specifically about the Esrog. However, is it not also the case when one holds another fruit where no mitzvah is involved? I pick up an orange. Is that the same thing? The Zohar says the fruits come from Atzilus. By the way, tell me if I'm wrong, but somebody said if you mamish, there's no way you can get any other fruit. I just heard this sukkahs. I think Yoni maybe said you can't get an esrog. You're in Siberia and you're in a place, miles and miles away, and there's no esrog. You take another nice fruit, I don't know.
I think I heard that.
Yeah, a nice lemon. I usually get that from my little kids. Like, I want my own lemon. I got Shayna. We got a nice shaped lemon. It's like I know it's really a lemon, but she still liked it. Okay, so the answer is: do other fruits hold this holiness the way an esrog does, even though there's no mitzvah involved? Okay, you could argue, say a brach on it, maybe use it as a sudas mitzvah, but it's not the same thing. So the answer is, as previously explained, that in other physical objects, the godly life force is concealed. The godly energy is concealed, whereas it's revealed in objects used for a mitzvah. These are the works of Hashem. We know esrog is special, is holy. Hey, maybe today we always try to find a nice box to put it in. We don't, misuse it. It's holy. We're saying a brach on it. Hashem came back kavanosai. When it comes to other fruits, the godliness is hidden within it. When it comes to the esrog, then you're having kavanah when you're doing the mitzvah. You're holding a piece of God. You're holding a piece of atzilus, and you're shaking it, doing a special mitzvah that God commanded us to. So here, even if a person is familiar with the mystical, Kabbalistic, and Chassidic meanings involved, He does not grab hold onto the essence of Malchus or Atzilos, the source of the esrog, but only to the external facts of its mere existence. So this is entirely unlike holding a physical esrog and performing a mitzvah. When you're holding a regular fruit, you're holding the outside. Yes, godliness is inside. Godliness is also inside the table. Godliness is also inside the tissue box and your clothing and whatever you touch and whatever you're involved with. When it comes to the esrog, a person grasps the essence of the physical esrog together with its source. You feel, and and even the lulav, we talk about the lulav being that straight line, the kav, that brings the blessing. We try to shake and bring back to our heart. We're bringing those blessings into our heart and into our lives. Ach belimod hilchas esrig masig v'tevis esrig mamish b'mitzvah kahalacha b'chinas dibra machshava. However, by studying the laws of the esrig, one does attain and grasp the esrig proper and its mitzvah appropriately by speech and thought, which means you have to study, you have to know the laws. For here, he's articulating or understanding or thinking about the laws of the physical esrig, whose essence he can grasp, and not its spiritual intent in the heavenly realms. So what's it saying here? 1 second. Meaning, not is he saying that when he studies the laws, he's reaching the same level as holding the esrog?
When you're learning the halachic matters of when you're learning the second sukkah and you're learning all the physical halachos about the physical practical halachos.
You get the same schar,
yeah,
but I think he's also saying, unless I'm wrong, that by learning it, then when you're it's two separate things. When you're learning it, you're able to attain that level.
Yes.
But also, if you don't learn about it and you're just doing the mitzvah, you might still be holding godliness, but you might not attain such an emotional, spiritual connection because you're grabbing it, saying the racha, moving on. But the halacha helps you have the kavanah. Otherwise, what are you thinking? That's what I'm saying. Maybe.
Kavanah is different. Just like when you're learning practical subjects, when you're learning like practical subjects in Gemara, that itself is not necessarily going to give you more kavanah in the mitzvah. That just can tell you the details of
Got you. Yeah. But we're still when we're learning that, like when we're learning about the Kabbalah, when we learn about the Beis Hamikdash, that is in place of, and
I mean that's still important because it increases your loving for Hashem. It increases your connection in the mitzvah. It's not saying that's not important because you don't have to remember.
It's a side benefit. It's a bonus.
Not a side benefit. It is very important, but it's not crucial. It doesn't prevent the mitzvah, as he said in previous chapters. It doesn't prevent the mitzvah from being effective if you don't have.
For here, he's articulating or understanding or thinking about the laws. When a person is learning the laws, he's thinking about the laws of the physical esrog, whose essence he can grasp. He's not thinking about its spiritual intent in the heavenly realms. He's thinking of what the esrog is supposed to look like, what makes it kosher, how he's supposed to choose. And even more so, when a person studies the esoteric dimensions of the mitzvah esrog according to the teachings of the Kabbalah Chassidus. So for here too, we're speaking about the esoteric, spiritual dimension of the physical esrog, whose essence he can comprehend, and not of the spiritual intention of the mitzvah, or yet higher, the relevant configuration of the spheres of the world of Atzilus. We're thinking of the physical, actual esrog, what makes it beautiful, what makes it special, what might invalidate it. We're learning, even from a spiritual perspective, about the physical esrog itself. This, however, refers only to the study of the Kabbalistic mysteries of the mitzvah itself. For this is not inferior to the laws, to the study of its laws. Indeed, quite the contrary. Even though he does not apprehend the essence of the spiritual intent of the mitzvah as it applies to the visages of Atzilus. And moreover, his understanding of the essence of the esrog, the object with which the mitzvah observes, grants him some comprehension of the essence of the mystical teachings and reach of the subject at large. So the takeaway for today is that the object with which a mitzvah is performed is energized and contains real godliness. So when we're holding such an object, this is a way we can physically grasp spiritual godliness. Beautiful. Okay, that's it for today. Nati.